Hey guys, I want to show you how I do backgrounds for my characters. So I finished him in Nomad Sculpt. Raphael is pretty much done. I just have a red background now, but I want to make it a more dynamic background and add some lights. So firstly, I've changed to perspective. When I model, I'm in orthographic, but now I've changed to perspective, and I've saved the view, Raph Hero, that I want. So I have a few other views here. It's always good to save the view, but this is the one that I'm going to use with the background. So the background I actually saved from a website called pexels.com, Pexels.com. You can get a bunch of free images to use. So I'm going to use this kind of cool skyline here, and you can transform the background. So let's just find a good place for that. I kind of like this right here. I think that's pretty good. And then once you're finished transforming, just tap the image and then it'll go back to your model. Whoops. And that's another, actually that's another good note to do when you do your reference image. You want to save that view as well. So I'm going to set the reference image to where we had it. Now I'm going to add that view as well. So now I have this one, which I can call the new hero, but good to know. So the first thing that I'm going to do is turn all the lights off. So I'm going to turn my environment off. That's just your basic lights so you can see the model. So everything should be black, which is actually quite nice all in itself. So I'm going to add the first light, and I think I'm going to try to add just a warm light, a warm what is this called, directional light. So I'm going to turn my light icons on just by clicking this setting here, because I always turn them off because they get a bit annoying. So I'm going to tap that, and it doesn't matter where you move the directional light. I'm just going to move it away from him. So the light is technically from behind him, but that might not always work. That actually looks pretty nice. Just to show some ambient light on him. We might change this light later, but I actually think that looks really cool for now. And let me make sure I check my settings here, just to make sure that you guys are getting the right exposure on the camera. Okay, so let's add a second light. Well, actually, let's change the temperature of this light. So you just go to light here, and you can tap on the color here, and I'll just move it up a little bit to about orange. Just kind of warm it up just a little bit. So now we'll go back to our lights. There we go. We'll add another light. And this light I'm going to make a little more intense, maybe a little more yellow. I'm going to make it a spotlight. So for this spotlight, I want it to be behind him. I want to make it look like it's coming from this light here. And this actually might work as a directional light too. So maybe we'll try both. But for now, I'm going to try the spotlight. So sometimes it doesn't matter how you change your model. When I go back to that hero stance, he's going to be standing the way he was. So I have to make sure that I put this light behind him. Sometimes it's better to go to like a top view so you can actually see where the light is. I'll flip the light around. I'll move it back some. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the normal view, hero view, and just adjust where I want it to be. I actually want it to be more over here. And I can't really see it, so I'm going to do the top view again and make sure it's pointing at him. Okay, I can see it sort of glancing off of him now. So I'm going to turn the intensity up because that light is pretty bright. So I'm going to turn the intensity way up so we can see it. So we can see it on him like that. Also, if you're wondering why the background is blurry, it's because in post-process I have depth of field on. Excuse me. But if I want to turn it off, then obviously it will be clear. And instead of tapping on the square here, if you tap on the actual light, then that light will... Let me go back to the view. And now I'll adjust this light a little bit. As you can see, I'm just like kind of slightly moving it. Just trying to figure out the best way to rotate it so we get a nice glare. And maybe even low and coming up a little bit. Something like that, maybe. I'll turn the intensity up even more. Okay. Okay, I think this looks pretty good so far. So let's add another light. So maybe we'll just keep it white. Maybe we'll add a little bit of warmth to it. A little bit of warmth to it. And let's lower the intensity of this just because I might just want to like light him up a little bit, just give him a little bit of exposure. Although we do want to see all the nice details that we made, but I don't think we want him too bright. So maybe instead of another directional light, we'll do another spotlight. Or maybe even a point light. Let's see, where's the point light? So a point light won't give any shadows, which I think is kind of unfortunate. I hope that eventually it will have the ability to add shadows with the point light. But for now, it might be good to just sort of light up his face a little bit. If I can find it again. Here it is. So maybe I'll up the intensity a little bit. Might need to be a little closer to his face. There we go. I always have to move the canvas around a lot. Sometimes it's hard to really gauge where the lights are in comparison to your character. So now I'll turn the intensity down. Okay, let's go back to our hero view. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I think this light needs to be needs to match a little more with the color. It's unfortunate that I can't see it right now. Maybe even a little darker red. Doesn't look like we need any more intensity, maybe even less intensity. And let's see what happens if we I want to bring it a little closer to him. That feels pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so we have one more light, so let's see. It might be nice to also give him a glow on this side, maybe like a blue glow, just because we have all this warm colors. It'd be nice to add in a cool color. So I like to turn off the lights and just see how much they're doing. This one might be nice if it's a little more orange as well, to really look like it's getting some of that atmosphere. Be a little more intense, just so it has like those little pops of like orange, which will look like it's from the sky. So for the last light, we'll do another spotlight. I like spotlight. I feel like that's the easiest to control. But for now, let's find a beam on him with the spotlight. Okay, there we go. So now I want to bring it so it's on this side of him. So let's just move it kind of in this general area. Sometimes it's hard. I wish I could just pivot the light controls, because sometimes it's a little hard to maneuver them. You have to like waddle it back. I probably could, but okay, there we go. So I'm going to put some blue on this light. I'm going to minimize this and just find this little window here. So I'm going to add some blue. And then I'm going to up the intensity, and this is mostly so I can see it easily. Okay. So I'm going to open up the cone angle. So it's a wider angle. I'm going to make the light a little more darker, just so it's a little more blue. And I don't really want it to be that much on him in our hero pose, which is about here. So I'm going to bring it around the back of him a little bit more. So I'll bring it around the back and then angle it on him. So from here, I just want the light to kind of hit those just like little pops. But now I have to go back to my view, because that's the most important view. And as you can see, it's still showing up way too much on him. So it needs to go even further around behind him. Yeah, that's what I want, something like that. That's pretty good. I'm still gonna move it around back. And maybe even a little further away. And maybe I'll lower the intensity. so it's not so super vibrant, but vibrant enough to see it. Maybe open up the cone angle just so we get some on his legs. And I think that looks pretty great. That's pretty much how I color this. So I try to make sure that my character is even enough so you can see the details, which honestly I actually prefer it a little darker. So, you know, I might have to like adjust this light and just bring the intensity down a little bit to make it look a little more natural. Something like that. But I always work on just opposing colors from different sides and subtleties. So you just have to position your lights so they're kind of behind the character but facing him. And that's just getting used to the lights and getting used to the tools and how to maneuver them. And obviously just playing off of the background. Obviously this is a bright sort of sunset here. So I made this like super bright area off to his left. And you know, there's an endless amount of adjustments and things you can do. Like maybe this is a little too overkill. I can always bring it down. So it's not so off the wall bright. But I don't even know which one I like better. Maybe the happy medium is good for now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that was interesting. Also, when you export, just remember to turn up the render resolution. Make sure that you're saving as well, often, very often. So let me save. And I'm gonna export this as 4K. And make sure that you save it before you try to export and things like that. And you can export. Sometimes the background might be a little, but I can crop that, you know, when I do my thing. But yeah, so keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll catch you all in the next